we'd like to see a treatment and a vaccine for this COVID virus so that people would be more certain about going back to work and we'd be operating in an environment with a lot less fear. We're working safely. We're sharing those best practices with governments around the world. We think it is safe to go back to work, and we're going to start to demonstrate that. And so that's really our first priority, the health and safety of everyone.
Jim, why do you think it's safe to go back to work?
Well, today we're operating with 14,000 people in our plants. We were deemed essential by the governments around the world because we supply so many materials that are in need today. We have 14,000 people going into work every day to keep product moving. They're doing it in a safe way. They're wearing PPE, they're distancing, they're practicing good sanitation, good hygiene. And one of the most important things is we're screening when people come to work. So when you come into one of the gates at Dow or into an office building, the security guard will ask you several questions about how you feel, who you've been in contact with, have you been outside the country, have you been exposed to anybody, and then they'll take your temperature. And what we found is that we can screen people and keep people from coming into work if they're not well, and then we can also make sure that they get tested and they get treatment. If someone has to stay home, we ask them to stay home for 14 days or until they pass the criteria to come back to work, and we continue to pay them through that time. This could happen to anybody, and we need to make sure our practices reflect that in the way we treat people.
Okay, so you're an early actor here in terms of sort of putting in place those kinds of procedures you just discussed. How long do you think it's going to take the rest of the world to do what you're doing and to really get people back to work?
I think they're going to come in gradually. What we've seen is that typically when people go back, they'll go back maybe with 20-25% of their workforce, wait a few weeks, get accustomed to how that's working, make sure there's no spike in any amounts of cases, and then bring the next wave in. We're focusing mostly on getting back into the plants and into the labs. So we've got 14,000 people coming in every day, but we have more that can come into the sites. And then when we get spaces where they're tighter, like offices, that'll probably come later. And so we want to make sure that we're taking care of the basic functions, and the people that are working effectively from home can continue to do that. We're sharing those with governors and with task forces at the federal and the state level, not just here in the U.S., but around the world. And we're giving them really good, almost OSHA quality types of practices that we use that they can put into their practices for other industries. And we share them widely with customers too.